Okay, well, um, pastor and his wife of Murphy Chapel were Harold and Kay Anderson. That's my mom and dad. Kay Anderson's mother was May Brown Morgan, that donated the property. And then Mom, who taught here so many years, well, she's my mom. And so I'm Phil Anderson, and I was in my mid-teens when the school was being built, and so in those days, all of the men went out with their boys, you know, and when Dad was here, the boys were here. My brother and I are probably in some pictures around here somewhere because we were busy running wheelbarrows with concrete in them and doing whatever we did, helping to build this. So that was my involvement in it. And then before the ground was actually started as a school, I helped Granddad farm this red clay that wouldn't raise a commotion. Furthermore, he was from Iowa, and back in Iowa they grew a lot of corn, and he raised sheep, and he called it Iowa, and back there was rich ground. And back there it was all flat. So he gets out here to Oregon, and these trees just made him feel claustrophobic. I mean, all those hills and everything, he couldn't stand it. So when he was looking for a place to put his new bride, he found this property here, up on this hill. This hill was very important to him. He had to get up where he could see out. But like you were saying, when he tried to farm this place, he said the ground was so poor because it was all red clay and rocks that it wouldn't raise a commotion. That was his terminology. So he looked for something else he could do with it. And on his heart for years had been kids. He had a flock of grandkids himself. There was a lot of grandkids in his family. I think he had 5 kids, and each one of them must have had a half a dozen too. When he married Grandma, well, then he got more grandkids. So he was interested in kids. Granddad Morgan used to say that he saw the Wright brothers fly, and he saw the first man on the moon. And he saw such a span of history and change. And the thing that concerned him was kids. The life that kids were finding now compared to the farm boy days that he had had as a young man. And his great burden was for young people. So the way it all came down was that Granddad said, you can have the land, it won't raise anything else. We might as well raise something good on it. But the bulk of the property, which is 40 acres, came to the school. A big player in this was World Missions to Children. And they were one of the catalysts in this. Murphy Chapel wanted to have a school. Grandpa Morgan wanted to have a school. He had the land, but nobody knew how to put it together. So World Missions to Children, as it was to begin with, they wanted to move out of California, and they came up here, and so they became the mother organization for the school. It's interesting how God moves things. All this was heaven's vision. Even Grandpa Brown's death, he had a stroke when he was in his 50s. Helped to tie into Granddad Morgan, helped to bring about the purchase of this place. And I think it's awesome how heaven's vision gets carried out with human hands and feet and sorrows. When I see the secular schools, their productions in music, in drama, in academics, the flippant way that they have their graduations, and then I come to one of New Hope's, it makes me so proud of New Hope. And I see young adults.
Yes.
And when I see high school kids and other high schools, secular schools graduating, I see children. I see a few adults there, but I see them still acting like children. And I long for the influence of such schools as New Hope, where kids actually grow up and don't just grow older. The dignity that rides with humanness, being made in God's image, is apparent here.